In the monstrance is the host from Mass. We believe as Catholics that that little thing that looks like just a piece of bread, we believe that that is the very body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. This is kind of difficult to believe. People have struggled to understand this. Do you know a priest once was struggling to believe this? About 1,200 years ago in Italy, he held up the Eucharist during Mass, and he said the words of consecration. This is my body, this is the chalice of my blood. And when he prayed those words, in his heart, he said, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief that this is you. And when he prayed those words, the host changed to human flesh. The wine changed to human blood. Everybody saw this miracle, and they kept it there at the church. Anybody could come and see it. And in the 1970s, they opened it up for scientific investigation. And atheists came. World Health Organization studied this. And they said, okay, we'll scientifically look at your little superstitious Catholic miracle, and we'll tell you what this really is. And so they examined the host. They said, okay, we'll tell you what this bread really is. And they examined this, and they said, okay, here's what we found out. They said, your host from your Mass of this Eucharistic miracle isn't bread. They said, this is human. They said, this is human heart tissue. They said, the blood you have is the same genetic type as the heart tissue. So these samples came from the same individual. They said the blood here is type AB blood, the universal recipient. They said that's very strange because very few people have that blood type in this part of Italy, but they said it is a very common blood type amongst men who live in the Middle East. They said this blood type also matches the blood type found on the Shroud of Turin, believed to be the burial cloth of Christ. But they said the most fascinating thing about this blood, as they said, in human blood are proportions of proteins, that when you die, those proportions of proteins change. They said the blood you have is coagulated, it's dried up and it's ancient, but the proportions of proteins are the exact same of living human blood. They said what you have here is ancient living blood from a man who is from the Middle East, whose blood type matches the burial cloth of Christ and matches the human heart tissue that priest received in his hands during Mass 1,200 years ago. And one of the scientists who had been atheist wrote in the report, the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and he entered the Catholic Church because of this Eucharistic miracle. And the greater miracle than this is that this happens every day in the hands of every priest around the world. And so the question is not, is Jesus present in Mass? He is. We need to become present, because the end of his life, he didn't just leave us a symbol of his absence. In his absence, he left us his very presence. And so tonight, we're going to take a time of Eucharistic adoration, of prayer. Because like I said, if tonight is just a motivational speech and you don't encounter the living God, this lifestyle is not possible. But if you can connect with Christ through the sacraments, then with him, all things are possible. And so our band now is going to lead us in some music. And they're going to begin with the song. And once that song is over, the priest is going to process with the Blessed Sacrament. And then we're going to lead you in a time of prayer and recollection. And it's going to last about a half hour. And then we're going to have a time of praise and worship to wrap things up. And so I would invite you to begin now, not with applause, but with a spirit of prayerfulness as we enter into the time of prayer together.